It's a nice day here in the southern mountains of Appalachia. Matt and I are outside trying to get a jump start on the gardening. So exciting this time of the year when everything's just like all the gardens are just like a canvas with nothing on them, and you can plan about what you want where and just imagine it all growing and actually getting to eat that wonderful goodness. Our main goal for today is we're going to add some lime to the garden. Now, I'm no expert, and you can research all kinds of stuff about whether or not you should put lime in your garden. There's people who really swear by it, and there's people who think you shouldn't do it. And of course, you can go get your soil tested and see if it needs it or not. There's all those wonderful resources that you should definitely take care of. And lime's not something that we would put in our garden every year, not even every 3 or 4 years. It's probably been a good 7 or 8 years, and we do it because Pap taught us to do it that way. So that's how we learned to garden from him. About every 7 or 8, even sometimes it might even be 10 years, he would add lime to his garden. A lot of older people in Appalachia, you'll hear them say that it sweetens the soil. Of course, today you can, like I said, you can go get your soil tested and see what it needs, see what you need to add to it. Most places, or at least I think most places, at least in my area in North Carolina, there's like extension office is what we call it, and most of the time they will assist you with that. Sometimes it's the health department, but in most places in North Carolina I think it's the county extension office, and they will help you, and that's a good place to start. And as far as purchasing lime, if you decide that you want to do that, you can get it at hardware stores, Lowe's, Home Depot, those kind of places, gardening places. I think you can even order it online. And there's different types, so you need to look for the kind that would be for the garden, for garden use. You can see Matt back there working. Once he gets that part done, then we will till it in. It's wonderful this time of the year too, if we don't always manage this. Of course, we don't put the lime down every year anyway, but even this time of the year, if we manage it, Matt always likes to till under, even though it's way ahead of when we would actually plant the garden, because of those wonderful leaves that are laying there. Those are last fall. All those leaves fell down in our garden, and then if you till them under, that's another way to enrich your soil. When we first started gardening here, in this bed or in any of our beds, not our raised beds so much, because of course we raised them up and then we put compost and topsoil out of the woods and that kind of stuff. We filled them. But if we were just working with our bare dirt, like right here where we were in the beginning, it was just red clay. That's what we have a lot of, is red clay. So over the years we've added compost. Of course the leaves fall and we till those in. So over the years we've kind of built it up, really worked on our soil, and it's got way better than it was in the very beginning when we started. In a lot of our gardening videos, people have often asked, what do we use for compost? Well, we like to use our chicken litter. We have chickens, so we clean out their pens and stuff, and we pile it in a pile and let it kind of decompose a little bit before we use it. If you use it straight from there, sometimes you run the risk of that it might be what we would say too hot, and it might burn up your plants. Although I have done that sometimes and it worked out okay, but that's a worry or a concern you have to have. We also like mushroom compost. That's something we can get in our area that's just readily available. We use mulch. We use wood chip mulch. We have lots of lumber yards in our area, sawmills, and so that's readily available too. And we use that primarily to tamp down the weeds so that we don't have to weed so much. But what happens is through the year, of course, it decomposes too, and it goes back into the ground, which is another thing that's really aided us over the years of helping our soil to increase to where it's much better now than it was when we first started. Another thing we use food scraps. So think about your vegetables, all the peelings and all those kind of things. Maybe the vegetables that don't get eaten, anything like that can be composted. We compost it. We have a composter in the backyard, and sometimes, Matt don't like it when I do this, but sometimes, especially during the winter, I don't do it so much during the summer, but if I peel potatoes or something for supper and I'm going out to the backyard to feed the chickens or let them out in the morning or something, I just throw those peelings directly in one of the raised beds, and they decompose. You could, Miss Cindy had a wonderful friend, Solly, still has him, but he's moved away from this location now, and he would actually just go out into his garden. He didn't produce as much compost in the house as we do with a bigger family, and he would go out into the garden and just dig a hole and then put like maybe his potato peelings or whatever it was, and just let them directly feed the soil from there. When I was over here cleaning out my flowers, mostly just stems from last year, dried stems from the zinnias and phlox, I found some daffodils about to bloom. In about a week, I'll have daffodils blooming. They're all through this bed. You can see some more right over there. And then back here, some other little spring plants, not daffodils, not crocuses either. I can't remember the name of them, but I was surprised to find these blooms. So we were able to make some progress. Matt got all this limed and tilled in. It looks so good. Me and him both get so excited when we turn over the dirt in the spring of the year. Not hardly spring yet, but this time of the year or in early spring, and we see how rich and dark and beautiful it looks. It took us so long to get it like that, so it's really rewarding for us. One other thing I forgot to mention that we do, as well as the other kind of compost I shared, is since we heat with wood a lot of the times, we save those ashes. Of course, you have to clean your stove out, and we put those in the garden too.
It's too cold for a popsicle.
Daddy told everybody we'd eat one in the snow, but there's been no snow to eat one, just a skiff.
I'll pick that up later.
Katie's been busy working, but she come out and said, "Now I'm done, I'm ready to help." I said, "Well, you come just in time, we're done. We're ready for a popsicle." And she said, "Can I eat a popsicle?" I said, "Sure. You take a break from your work, and we celebrate that ours is finished."
Yeah, mine ain't really started.
It's nice to be out for the first day. Of course, we've not been out here all day. What have we been? Just a couple of hours, I guess. Still feels nice to be outside, getting ready for the garden.
No. I was just thinking to myself, new year, new me. Not really much for resolutions, but...
No, but new year, new garden.
Yeah, or just like new things, like
right,
new
always
garden,
things.
new things.
Some things we do the same every year, and then there's always things we want to try different. We're still hoping to, we're not going to, of course, get rid of all of our grass in this length of time between now and spring, but we're still hoping to do the 2 banks to at least get some beds on them so that they don't have to be so hard to weed eat all summer long.
Gotta hurry up and get it planted so the deer have something to eat.
Yeah, have to hurry up and feed the deer. The seedlings I started last week, or how big are they? About that big? The ones that have come up, they've not. The peppers have still not come up, but the cabbage has. So that's the first step too. Of course, there's always new varieties we want to try. It's too tempting for me, especially not so much for Matt, to want to try everything.
I'm waiting for my poppy flower to come back up, and this year I'm going to get it.
Yeah, Katie's
It
chasing
won't
the
elude
poppies.
me again.
Now, last year, that was something we tried. Last winter was throwing out poppy seeds to see if that was a good way to plant them. As I'd watched a video, someone said that was the best way to plant them, and I did that, and it worked. It did. It really worked. And I'm hoping the ones that survived last year, that they will reseed themselves. I hope.
I think my special one will come up this year. I'll keep my eye on it.
Katie's got a real pretty pink one that she likes. And we really didn't know if we planted it or where it come from the first year.
I don't really know. But I collected the seeds from it. And then I planted some. And not a one of them come up except one ended up off the bank. And I'm like, well, I wouldn't have planted one there. It blew over there.
Blew, or we accidentally moved it when we were tilling or something.
So if it comes up there again, will they come back?
They can reseed themselves. They're not perennials. Not here. They might be somewhere else.
I'm
but not
watching,
here.
my
Too
Lord.
cold.
That's my prayer. Everybody pray my flower comes back. I want that thing so bad. I want to collect more seeds.
One thing we were really excited about last year, or last fall, was the Arkansas hillbilly shared some multiplying onions with us. So he said when I talked to him on the phone, that generally he planted them way before he had sent them to me, and that way they kind of got a good head start. Well, I don't know if it was because I planted them later that they didn't do anything, really, or at Christmas when we had the bitter cold, unusually cold weather for us for several days in a row,
killed 'em?
if that killed them. I'm worried that it might have, I mean, I don't know what else it could have killed, but that was unusually cold. But when we were just putting out the lime and tilling, I found one onion, and it's not multiplied. It looks just like it did when I planted it last fall, but I got it out, and I guess I'll try to plant it somewhere else and see if it does anything. But maybe I don't know if it was just too cold or too late in the season, or if that cold got them, or if they just don't like it here. Sometimes it seems like we run into that. People tell us like a tomato or something that really does good for them, and then we grow it a year or two and it grows, but it just doesn't produce. And then there's the ones that, the tried and true, I guess every gardener has to do that, find out exactly what works for them. Because even though you may be in a zone, whatever zone you're in, then there's little microclimates too. And ours is certainly that, being here on the north side of the mountain.
That's true. That's a good point. I'm kind of eating this popsicle in a hurry. I was thinking to myself, I don't want it to melt and make a mess, and then I started thinking,
It's not going to melt.
It ain't going to melt.
Today.
It's too cold to melt. I kept looking. I was like, why is nobody else's? And I was like, mine's not melted. And I'm like, I could take my time. That's okay. Faster I eat it, the faster I put my hands back in my pockets.
Well, it ain't that cold.
I'm frozen to death. I'm not going to lie.
You wasn't working. We were working, so I'm still kind of warm from working. I mean, you were working, but you were inside the house working, not out here.
I'm like super cold. That's why I'm like, I put my hood up.
Being out here today should make us rest really good tonight, just breathing all this fresh air.
Yeah. That's true.
That was the main goal that we wanted to do, was get the lime tilled in. It's supposed to rain tomorrow, so Matt said that would be really good for it. Our next chore, what?
Too
Sour?
big a bite.
Oh, too big.
Cold.
Yeah, hurt you.
Our next main chore that we've got to get done is to trim prune the apple trees and the things like that, the blackberries, blueberry bushes. We've not pruned them in several years, and they're kind of getting out of hand. Well, some of them, not all of them, but these up front.
Blueberry trees.
Yeah, that's what they are, and they're hard to get the berries, which last year we had no berries, I think, because of the late freeze.
Yeah, and you gotta watch them birds, son. That makes me so
I
damn
did all that work. It's still there. It needs to be tore down.
No, leave it.
Of trying to keep them out, but this year we need to cut them way back.
I'll have to fight the birds.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll fight the deer.
Olive will help me fight the birds.
Yeah. That cool you down?
I like froze. It's so cold.
Sitting on this cold stump ain't happening now.
Yeah, it kind of feels wet.
That's what I said.
Still nice to be outside though.
Yep. Won't be long, we'll be out lots.
Yeah.
And it'll be hot.
And that's what I'm waiting for, the seed and the heat.
Yeah.
I
That's
like
what
it.
you like.
Yeah, I'm not.
I like all of it. I like the heat, but I like this too. Your daddy can't stand the heat though.
Gosh almighty, it just hurts
He
to
wishes
work
it was
in.
like this all the time, but I said, then
Absolutely.
how could I grow tomatoes?
The heat is
And
Dad's arch
cucumbers.
nemesis, but I just like soak it in and I like it. I mean, I don't want it to be just like so miserable, but at the same time, I'm like, wow.
Feels good on your back and your shoulder and your head when you're working.
That's-
No, Matt.
That's how I get sunburned. Oh, I'm sorry, I threw
Yeah.
my stick at you by accident. That's usually how I get sunburned, is I'm like, oh,
Feels so nice.
it's so nice. I'll just have this old short sleeve or tank top on and work, and then before you know it, at the end of the day, you're like pink.
Yeah.
Not even tan, but pink. Yeah, I do that like every year.
Still wouldn't hurt my feelings though to have a big snow before then, before we're ready for that. But every day it goes by, chances are slimmer. Although Granny was reminding me this morning that on her birthday's March the 6th, that her mother told her when Granny was born there was a big snow all the way up on the porch.
Said it was snow up over the porch.
Yeah, so still possible.
The blizzard of '93 was
Oh,
on
yeah.
in March,
Yeah,
so
it was in March too.
it is possible. To be 100% honest, I don't care what happens. There's no great, there's not, I don't care. I don't guess I'm vested in it one way or the other.
I like snow, but the closer we get to the spring, then the more I'm like, okay, I'm done with that, and now I want to be able to plant all my stuff and not worry about it.
Yeah, it's like, I'm ready for one season. Like, I wish it was like a crisp cutoff between
You know what
them all.
happens when it gets spring and it begins to warm?
No.
Fishing.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
Yeah, Katie,
I'd like that.
Start fishing.
Me and Nick can go back fishing.
Or can I not go?
You can go.
Yes, you can go too.
You
Just
can
gonna
come
leave
with
the old guy
us.
behind?
No.
That's all right.
You can go catch us some and have us a fish fry. That would be
You can
nice.
come with us. I begged y'all. I'm begging y'all this year. We should go camping, and we can
I'd
go.
love to go camping.
And that's what we'll do. We'll camp next somewhere where we can fish, and we'll catch ourselves something to spend a few days. And by that time, a few days, we'll surely catch something that we could eat.
Your daddy was talking about building us somewhere to, like a thing to put in the back of his truck or something.
You could just get a camper and then get yourself a platform and put a. I said we could do that with a 4Runner too.
Yeah.
I've slept in the
Lots
back
of
of it.
people, when on that video when he was talking about it, left some wonderful ideas about how they, what they did to retrofit their truck, or some people talked about like a little tiny pop-up camper. It'd be easy to pull. Lots of different things.
Yeah, I've looked at all those.
Have you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They are quite pricey.
Yeah, I know. That's why I'm saying if you just only get a camper to go on the back of your truck and you sleep in the bed.
Yeah, I used to do that lots years ago.
That's what I would do.
And no bigger than that truck is, you'd about have to sleep down on the floor of the bed instead of doing the cots, because
Yeah, that's what I mean. Is build a wood platform and then put yourself a mattress pad.
I wouldn't even build a platform. I just put the mattress pad right down on the truck bed.
Yeah.
That's the way we used to do it.
And then have the camper, so in case it rained or whatever.
The thing about the 4Runner is you can lay the seats down in it. We camped in it one time and slept in it.
We did that several times, me and you and Corey did, when we'd go to Rattler Ford with the church. Yeah.
We did it one time. Slept in the back of it at Standing Indian.
Yeah.
The thing's it's fine. I slept good. And especially if you was one person,
You know, I looked.
plenty of room.
They actually make a little small slide-in camper for trucks like that's my size that fit my truck.
Yeah.
$50,000 for a slide-in camper.
Oh
you
my
could
Lord!
build
I'd
it.
buy myself a camper for
Build a
that.
house
I'd go
for
buy
that.
a tent for $50 and sleep on the ground
Yeah,
before I
no.
did that. That's crazy.
You could buy yourself a nice camper. You could buy yourself a used SUV and sleep inside the SUV.
We used to do the tent camping all the time, though.
When I was a little boy,
We just can't. You could get cots to put inside the tent, and that'd be better than on the ground.
when I was a real little boy, we deer hunted with a guy that had a slide-in camper, and it was for a full-size truck. And it had a little kitchen and
That's cool.
stove and all that stuff in it, and then the bed where he slept it kind of went out over top of the roof of the truck, over the cab. And I stayed in that thing a time or two, and I remembered that was the most comfortable bed I ever laid down on, even
Oh,
to this
really?
day.
Wow.
And then you wake up, and it's fairly confined just because of its size,
Yeah.
but you wake up and percolator of coffee go on, and eggs frying, and it's cold outside. And he had it detached from his truck. They had little legs that come down, and you can level it up, and then you can drive your truck out from under it. And then use your truck.
Yeah,
For
so
whatever.
During the
Whatever.
day, yeah.
And I just remember that thing being so comfortable, and it was warm inside, and it was pretty cold outside. And we'd cook breakfast in there early in the morning, and I really enjoyed that.
That's fun.
Yeah, it was fun.
I remember when we would go when we were little and we'd camp in a tent. I loved it.
Yeah.
We sure did have a good time.
Then the other one, camper you ended up with, the one that we stayed in some in Georgia, that was a really small camper. What was his name that owned it?
That original one?
Yeah, the little one.
Not the one with bunk beds in it.
His name,
No.
old man, his name was Hoot, or that's
Yeah.
what we called him, Hoot.
Yeah.
I
and
think
you
it was
ended
pretty
up with
cozy.
his.
His name was James,
Yeah.
and he was a good guy.
That was a nice little camper. I mean, it was little and old, but it
Yeah.
served its purpose
Yeah, I hunted out of that thing for
years.
years and years.
Yeah.
I remember that. I remember we would stay in it. And then I remember the camper with bunk beds.
And then we graduated to that one.
And you said that was the most comfortable bed. Well, the most comfortable bed I ever slept on was that bunk bed. And that camper, I'm telling you, it was nothing but cozy. I remember it'd be cold and we'd have all our covers on. Corey was above me, and she'd knock. We had a little secret knock Morse code. It was fun. I mean,
fun
it was
times.
great. Yeah, it was a lot of fun.
Remember we had Ruby in it?
Yeah, and she tore down the blinds
Yeah.
trying to bark at the window.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was fun though. I mean, it really
We
had a
used to-
good time.
That's when things were simpler and people wasn't busy and
Yeah, and things weren't expensive.
school and jobs and all that.
Yeah, that was a lot of fun. I say this is the year that we recreated.
Yeah. This is the year of instead of the year of George. This is the year of
You're Katie.
This is
the
the year of Katie.
That's the
right.
year of Katie.
I feel like last year was a year of Katie,
Yeah.
but this can be the year of Katie again.
Never gets old being the year of Katie. Huh?
No.
Yeah. Well, maybe we can do that. I think right now we better go in and think about supper.
I know, I kind of got warm. I was just sitting here. I think it's because of that I'm done eating the popsicle. That's what had me
Yeah.
cold.
We hope you enjoyed coming along with us for our first day outside of this gardening season. Like Matt said, there'll be many more, but we're really pleased with what we accomplished today. As always, we hope you'll drop back by often and help us celebrate Appalachia, which is a whole lot about making a garden.
Bye. My butt's numb and that's hurting me. Oh, hold on. That's a wrap.
She's crazy. Your daughter's crazy.
Just waiting for music went off. I was going to jump up. My butt's